Do you want to learn English the natural way? Well, in this video, you're going to learn English with the comprehensible input method. All you need to do is just watch, listen, and you will learn new English vocabulary. Today, I'm in the county of Cornwall in the southwest of England. And I'm at a place called St. Michael's Mount. So that there is St. Michael's Mount, and that is where I'm going to visit today. For this video, I'm going to turn off the subtitles. So try to use your ear to listen and understand without subtitles. Actually, as always, if you do want subtitles, then just click the button down here and you can get YouTube subtitles. Anyway, let's go and take a look at St. Michael's Mount. So you can see all these people are walking along the path to go and get to St. Michael's Mount, right? All of these people, they are all walking towards St. Michael's Mount over there. The interesting thing about St. Michael's Mount is actually you can only go across this path at certain times of the day. And actually it depends on the tides, yes? So during high tide, at high tide, the sea will cover this path. The path will be underwater during high tide. Right now it's low tide. You see, the sea is really far out, you see. So it's low tide right now. And so at the moment you can take this path and you can walk over to St. Michael's Mount, but you can only do this at low tide. During high tide, it's not possible because the path is covered with water. The path is underwater during high tide. So you can only go out there during low tide, like right now. So I think I have about 3 hours to go over there and come back, because in about 3 hours, the tide will come in. The tide will come in and the water will cover the path, right? So I will have to make this video quickly because I've only got 3 hours before the tide comes in. So let's go. I need to go and check out St. Michael's Mount quickly. By the way, you can see down here, there's all this moss around here. You see all this green moss down here. So all of this area is covered in this green moss here, all over. And over there, there's also some seaweed. I can see down there, all over this area, there's seaweed, more seaweed all over this place. So lots of moss and seaweed all over here. So Cornwall is actually a really popular holiday destination, not only for Brits, but also for people from other countries as well. As I've been walking around here, I've heard a lot of German being spoken actually. So I guess Cornwall, apparently, it's pretty common with German people. Cornwall is a good place to go on holiday for Brits because when you come to Cornwall, you don't have to worry about passports. You don't have to worry about airports or visas. It's easy. You just drive down here, right? You just drive down to Cornwall, or you can even take the train. In fact, I actually took the train to come down to Cornwall. It took about 5.5 hours, 6 hours, something like that. But this is why Cornwall is such a good place to go on holiday, because it's not too difficult to come here. Everything is in English. You don't need another language or anything. And it's a good place, a cheaper place for families to come on holiday. You don't have to spend a lot of money, right? And that's why it's a more popular place to come on holiday. The other thing with Cornwall that's pretty good is that you kind of feel quite cut off from the rest of the world here, because Cornwall is right on the end, like right on the southwest of the country. And it's actually quite a long way from anything else. Like you are miles away from London. You are miles away really from any major city, right? There are no major cities around here. The closest city is probably Plymouth. And even Plymouth is not a really big city. So you get the feeling down here that you're really cut off from the rest of the world. It's quite nice. Although I will say that nowadays it's pretty touristy. As you can see sort of behind me, right? There are tourists, like it's jam-packed with tourists now. I used to come here when I was younger, when I was a kid, and it was less touristy then. So although you do get the feeling like you're cut off from the rest of the world, it's also not quite as much as it used to be, because actually there are loads of people here now and lots of tourists. But yeah, Cornwall is nice. I would say if you live in the UK, if you are somebody who's living here, you may want to consider Cornwall as a place for your next holiday. It's pretty nice, pretty relaxing, you know. It's pretty chill. It's pretty chill. It's a pretty chill place, Cornwall, I would say. So I'm just chilling here on some rocks, and before I go and climb St Michael's Mount, I've got a packed lunch here. So I've got a sandwich and a packet of crisps. So a sandwich and a packet of crisps. This is what we call a packed lunch, right? So instead of going and buying something, instead of going to a touristy shop and buying lunch for £6, £7, you know, and it will cost a lot because this is a touristy area, I decided to bring a packed lunch instead. So if you want to save money, it's always good to bring a packed lunch, right? So I've got in here a ham and cheese sandwich, and the ham and cheese sandwich is wrapped. It's wrapped in tin foil, right? So we got a sandwich and it's wrapped in tin foil. So let me just take off the tin foil, and here is my sandwich right here. So I wrapped it in tin foil, right, to keep it fresh, I guess. And it's a baguette. So this is a baguette here, and it's a ham and cheese baguette. Ham and cheese sandwich wrapped in tin foil. Pretty good for a packed lunch. Okay, I have just finished eating my packed lunch. So now it's time to cross over the path, over the causeway, as it's called, and go to St Michael's Mount. A causeway is basically a path that will go underwater during high tide. That kind of path has a special name. It's called a causeway. So now I'm gonna walk across the causeway to St Michael's Mount. You can see that it's very rocky on either side of the causeway. See, it's very rocky on that side, but also very rocky on the other side. So it's rocky on either side. And you can see down here, there's some seaweed here, see? So lots of seaweed and also a lot of moss, see? See this is moss, see? So seaweed and moss all over this rocky area. Okay, I have made it to the island, St Michael's Mount. So we have crossed the causeway and here we are. Now, I have 2 tokens here. See, I've got a red token and I've got a white token here. So I've got 2 tokens. The red token gives me access to the castle up here, and the white token here gives me access to the garden. Normally the tickets would be about £20 or £30, but I have a little secret. I've got one of these cards. So this is a National Trust. See that? This is a National Trust card. So this gets me into all National Trust places for free, right? All for free. So I didn't have to pay anything to come here today. There are National Trust sites all over the country. Up and down the country, there are different National Trust sites, and you can get one of these cards, and this will allow you to get into all of the sites for free. Actually, the truth is, this is not actually my card. This is the card of a family member, but don't tell anyone about that. Let's pretend this is my card. Okay, so this is not actually my card. So yeah, if you have a National Trust card, you can get into all these places for free. So it's a pretty good thing to have.
So that's the weird thing in the world.
We're at the top of the castle on St. Michael's Mount. I think it's been built from a period of from 1100 to about 1900, so it was built in a slow process. The local legend is that a giant lives at the top of Michael's Mount in this castle. So that's the local legend. I don't know if it's true, but maybe it is. I don't know. But yes, there's a lot of tourists here today. It is jam-packed with tourists, actually. So I'm going to keep looking around the castle a little bit, and then I'll head back across the causeway, across the sea again. You can see that now you don't even need to use the path, because the tide has gone out even more, that I can just walk on the sand over here, because look, the tide has gone right out. So you don't even need this path anymore. Everybody is using the path, but you don't need to use it because the tide has come out. The tide has come way out, and so I can just walk on the sand. When I came across the path the first time, there was water on both sides and you needed to use the path. But now the tide has gone out even more, so I can just use the sand. I'm just going to walk on the sand now. You can see that you need to watch your step. You need to watch your step because it's rocky. It's a rocky ground here. So you need to watch your step to make sure that you don't trip over or twist your ankle. I don't want to twist my ankle on these rocks, so I'm gonna watch my step here. Look, some more seaweed. I just stood on some more seaweed. Look at that. Okay guys, so just before we end today's video here at St. Michael's Mount, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the benefits of listening to English without subtitles. Okay, I believe that if you're learning English and you want to learn with the comprehensible input method, you should spend a significant amount of your time listening without subtitles, okay? You see, when you listen to English with subtitles turned on, it's very good. You learn a lot. You can learn a lot of vocabulary this way. There's only one small problem, and that is your brain is still looking at the spelling of the words that you're listening to. Now, the good thing is you can also hear the word while the person is speaking it, but you also see the spelling down where the subtitles are. And your brain, in many cases, will still try to interpret the letters in the word and decide how to pronounce the word. So without realizing it, your brain can kind of try to interpret the way the word is spelt into how it's pronounced, right? When you listen to English with no subtitles, all you're getting is sounds. There are no letters, there's no writing, it's just sounds. And when you only have sounds to listen to, you are more likely to actually understand and eventually copy the correct pronunciation, the correct sounds, right? Without being misled by the letters that you see when you're using subtitles. It's not like if you have the subtitles turned on, you get nothing from the video. No, if you're using subtitles, you still learn a lot by watching comprehensible input, okay? I'm just saying that you should spend a significant amount of your time listening to comprehensible input without subtitles, because that allows your brain to focus only on the actual sounds that native speakers are using, and your brain will not get misled by the spelling of words. When it comes to English pronunciation, not getting misled by the spelling of words is half the battle, right? That's like half the battle. Yes, you can still have problems with the pronunciation of certain sounds because you can't get your teeth and your lips in the right place. But honestly, half the battle with English pronunciation is that you just don't get misled by the spelling and that you focus on the actual sounds that native speakers are using, okay? When you do listen to comprehensible input without subtitles, you may find that you need to reduce the level a little bit. If you're normally listening to B2 upper intermediate videos with subtitles, you may find that you may have to bring down the level to B1 intermediate to be able to understand without subtitles. But you want to get into the habit of listening without subtitles, firstly because of what I said about pronunciation, but also for your listening skills as well. Because in the real world, if you speak English to somebody, a native speaker or anybody in the real world, what you get is you have to look at their face like this, and you have to understand the words that are coming out of their mouth. You just have to look at their face and understand. There are no subtitles in the real world. So it's a good thing to actually get used to listening to English without subtitles. It will help you more in the real world when you're having a real conversation, right? Because you will be familiar with actually listening to the sounds that you hear and then recognizing which words people are using. Now, of course, there are some videos on English Sponge that include subtitles. That's okay. Like I said, you can still learn a lot with subtitles. You can still learn lots, okay? But on EnglishSponge.com, we have more than 700 videos, comprehensible input videos at each level, and almost none of them have subtitles. Probably only 5% or 3% of our videos have any subtitles. So yeah, on English, if you prefer to listen without subtitles like this, on EnglishSponge.com we have more than 700 videos without them. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed watching me take a look around St. Michael's Mount today. Here is a playlist of me traveling around the UK and teaching English at the same time. But thank you for watching guys, and I will see you in the next video.